Back-to-back great SpaceX news for Dogecoin. Musk will take Dogecoin 10 $5 with this. What will Dogecoin be worth in 10 years? This is one of the most common questions by Dogecoin supporters and investors. Some believe that Dogecoin is nothing more than a massive bubble waiting to burst, while others agree that it will have significant growth over the course of the coming decade. Well, of course, with a Dogecoin fee adjustment on the horizon, potential Starlink integrations, and continued community support, Dogecoin's future does seem bright. But before we move any further, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. Now, let's get right into it. Dogecoin developer Patrick Lauder recently introduced a formal proposal to reduce average Dogecoin transaction fees. Wait, reduce? When it's already a fraction of the price of most cryptos? Now, one of the most commonly cited catalysts for Dogecoin is indeed its lower transaction fees. However, the reality is that Dogecoin's transaction fees are markedly higher than several other popular digital currencies. Introduced in 2014 and implemented in 2018, the current meaningful fee model was intended to prevent on-chain transaction spamming. These fees charge 1 Doge per kilobyte of transaction data, which translates to about 2.16 Doge, US 24 cents per average transaction. But with this year's spike in price for Dogecoin, meaningful fees can also be costly. Not to forget, users are also keeping their Dogecoins on centralized platforms because transferring funds to self-hosted wallets is expensive, which is why Lauder also expects that this proposal would make average fees 100 times cheaper, among other changes. So you see, it's a major update and one that could help propel Dogecoin to becoming one of the most efficient and practical cryptocurrencies around. However, none can take it to the moon except Elon Musk himself. Musk, who is also the CEO of aerospace company SpaceX, has been bringing us some great news one after the other. First, there was the Doge 1 mission, and now there is Starlink. Well, yes, Musk recently announced that Starlink will come out of beta testing mode in October, which is a key step toward a wider launch. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Starlink, it's basically a satellite internet service designed to reach rural and remote areas of the world. Most residents who have the internet on these isolated areas deal with slow speeds and service that suffers during bad weather. They complain about the inability to do basic things online, such as joining Zoom meetings. Take, for instance, Centrelink, which is the main internet service provider on the reservation. It showed download speeds of just above 1 megabyte per second and an upload speed of half a megabyte per second for one Macaw reservation resident. But with Starlink, one beta tester showed download speeds around 148 megabytes per second and upload speeds of 13.6 megabytes per second. However, the service right now is far from perfect, as trees can disrupt the line of sight connections to satellites, and the satellite dishes go into thermal shutdown in hot areas. But for people in areas where wired ISPs have never deployed cable or fiber, Starlink is still a promising alternative. The service could potentially improve when SpaceX launches more satellites and refines its software. To date, SpaceX has already launched over 1,700 Starlink satellites into orbit. However, Musk has said that he eventually wants to send up to 42,000 satellites into space, completely enveloping the Earth. Starlink satellites are significantly closer to Earth than traditional satellites that allow for shorter distances and speeds over 100 megabytes per second for those in the beta testing program. Speeds like that would be a huge improvement for almost anyone in a rural area and can be offered remotely to the hardest to reach places. And even more importantly, by providing high-speed internet to underdeveloped areas, Starlink could help accelerate global cryptocurrency adoption. Furthermore, it could also lower the barriers of entry for crypto miners. Well, yes. In response to Elon's call for ideas to improve Doge, a researcher named Arthur Gervais submitted a proposal back in May. Gervais believes that the internet speed between crypto miners was one of the most overlooked bottlenecks, but we often overlook the fact that we can easily speed up a blockchain without any protocol change by simply improving the network connectivity between the miners. That is because the lower the internet between the miners is, the less synchronized they become and the more the blockchain's security degrades. That's one of the fundamental reasons why it's not trivial to scale Doge or Bitcoin by simply increasing the block time frequency and block size. SpaceX's Starlink broadcast networks could help provide crypto miners with low latency, high-speed connections compared with terrestrial internet infrastructures. For instance, the round-trip time (RTT) between London and Singapore would be about 108 milliseconds on Starlink, while fiber optic internet cable currently yields 159 milliseconds. While there isn't much of a dramatic change here, however, Musk has said that the speed will double to 300 megabytes a second and latency will drop to 20 milliseconds later this year, as more satellites are launched to add to the grid. Starlink is certainly already highly anticipated by traditional financial institutions to perform lower latency arbitrage across the major financial exchanges. Using Starlink as a network to propagate blockchain peer-to-peer data among miners would equally help speed up substantially the current blockchain throughput, without deteriorating its security. Dogecoin could very well scale its transaction throughput by orders of magnitude if its miners were to engage in a dedicated Starlink relay network. Indeed, but apart from that, it's also worth noting that Dogecoin will be accessible to a larger audience. So far, cryptocurrency ownership has been limited to a small percentage of the global population. That appears to be changing. As Starlink makes high-speed internet available across the world, more people will be able to participate in the alternative, people-centered monetary networks like Dogecoin. And just like that, Starlink could be a big part of Musk's plan to make Dogecoin the people's crypto. So what are your thoughts on Starlink? Will Starlink truly become the catalyst that'll push Dogecoin to new heights? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, if you found our video informative, do like it and share it with your friends. Till next time, stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel for all new updates coming up.